Never underestimate the heart of a champion, even if it's a machine. The computer program AlphaGo made headlines one last time before hitting the rocking chair, beating Chinese master Ke Jie in a 3-match series sweep.
AI defeated the best human players in complex games like poker.
The entire process, of diagnosis can easily take half an hour to close to an hour to analyze thousands of images just from one patient scan alone. But the whole process can be automated, all within a few seconds, by artificial intelligence. So that's the power of AI today.
Our fascination for AI has been there for a very long time, be it the battle for survival between the nearly extinct human race and Skynet, in the 1984 sci-fi thriller Terminator, or the 2013 American science fiction romantic drama Her, which portrays a man who develops a relationship with Samantha, an artificially intelligent virtual assistant. While we are nowhere near to the level of intelligence portrayed by machines in these movies, but yes, AI is transforming and becoming more intelligent every second. Will artificial intelligence surpass human intelligence? The Turing test, developed by Alan Turing in 1950, is a test of a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior, equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human. Turing proposed that a human evaluator would judge natural language conversations between a human and a machine designed to generate human-like responses. The evaluator would be aware that one of the two partners in conversation is a machine, and all participants would be separated by one another.
The University of Reading says the computer program, it's called Eugene Gustman, has passed the iconic Turing test.
Well, it's fairly sophisticated. It did get 1/3 of the judges to actually think it was a Ukrainian boy and not a computer, and that's a significant accomplishment. But it did it not through real intelligence, not through what Alan Turing thought of when he designed the test, but as you demonstrated, through humor, through misdirection, through confusion. It mimicked the way a 13-year-old boy would mock somebody asking questions, and therefore was, fairly persuasive to some people.
But John Searle, an American philosopher, raised an interesting argument against strong artificial intelligence in his thought experiment, The Chinese Room. Searle's thought experiment begins with this hypothetical premise. Suppose that artificial intelligence research has succeeded in constructing a computer that behaves as if it understands Chinese. It takes Chinese characters as input, and by following the instructions of a computer program produces other Chinese characters which it presents as output. Suppose, says Searle, that this computer performs its task so convincingly that it comfortably passes the Turing test. It convinces a human Chinese speaker that the program is itself a live Chinese speaker. To all of the questions that the person asks, it makes appropriate responses such that any Chinese speaker would be convinced that they are talking to another human being. The question Searle wants to answer is this: does the machine literally understand Chinese? Or is it merely simulating the ability to understand Chinese? Searle argues that without understanding, we cannot describe what the machine is doing as thinking. And since it does not think, it does not have a mind in anything like the normal sense of the word.
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call.
In 2018, Google CEO Sundar Pichai demonstrated how a Google Assistant can make a haircut appointment with a salon and sound like an actual human.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second.
The conversation between the bot and the saloon seems surprisingly human, and Google Duplex wonderfully understands nuances of conversation. All this has been possible with years of research in natural language processing and deep learning. Google's Duplex phone call may seem unbelievably real, but for AI to replicate human thinking is still a very long journey. While AI has succeeded in beating human champions in games like Go, Dota, poker, AI still lacks common sense, which every 10-year-old possesses. Today, AI can mimic human tasks in well-defined and controlled environments. Boston Dynamics Spot, a semi-autonomous four-legged robot, has been entertaining us with its moves on Bruno Mars' Uptown Funk.
I'm too hot, hot day. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot, hot day. And my man bow down, money break it down.
Or his ability to pull a truck. Spot knows how to climb stairs and avoid barriers. But it still needs human assistance. Spot can retrace its paths and navigate spaces and can be very useful in industrial spaces, but in a well-defined environment. While Spot seems a step closer to an intelligent bot, but Boston Dynamics still has a long way to go before Spot can operate on its own intelligence. Nick Bostrom, a 43-year-old Swedish-born philosopher, speculates in his book that the biggest threat to wipe out human race is not a pandemic, neither a nuclear winter or climate change, but it is machine intelligence that is greater than ours. Bostrom does mention that the human-level computing power has not yet been reached, but almost certainly will be attained well before 2050.
Technology is always making an impact on business. I think there's a sort of strong feeling among people my age or a bit younger that the internet changed everything. And I think the internet did change everything, but I also think electricity changed everything just over a century ago. Mass production changed everything. Globalization changed everything. I mean, you know, disruption is not just a kind of 21st century phenomenon. I think we are at the tail end, you might say, of some technologies. The web is now pretty familiar. We've seen it disrupt lots of businesses, and we're about to get a new wave of lots of new technologies or developments from the web. We've had social media, AI, artificial intelligence, I'm sure will displace these. Now, what do I think the next wave is going to be and what's it going to do? I don't have any special insight. For me, I would say white-collar jobs of a more routine kind, but which have required quite a lot of brain power. These are the kinds of things which I can see technology displacing. Please welcome the stage, a genuine robot, Marty! So the kinds of examples I suppose one might have in mind would be things like actuaries. It's a very difficult thing to be, and yet it seems to be possible that AI would, you know, change that job very fundamentally, or accountancy perhaps, or quite a few jobs.
I understand you like it when comedians complain. So, you know what really pushes my buttons? That guy, that's it's a depressing existence.
And so where does it change business? I think it sort of moves business towards the things that machines can't do. The machines will do the stuff that they can do, the humans will do the stuff things machines can't do, of which, by the way, there are many examples. It's going to be a long time before you have a machine that can do the gardening, a long time before you can have a machine that is a prison officer. I mean, there are lots of things that machines are going to struggle with. But I do think it's important to stress that even though technology is going to disrupt some industries, we are very, very used to technology disrupting industries. We've seen a lot of disruption in the last 20 years, and there was a lot of disruption in decades past as well.